Good morning, everyone. Good morning, y'all. Welcome to Tuesday, the 27th of July. We're just going to kick it off with housekeeping. First things first, if you're listening to the podcast after this live stream goes out, please like, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. I guess you can't really like the episode, but it really helps out, and I've seen the views starting to pick up on the podcast, so that's really encouraging, really fun, and I just appreciate anyone who's willing to listen to me talk for 45 minutes. So, as Crystalia says, these are the hard-hitting issues. If you would do that, please. If you're watching this afterwards on the YouTube channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. And also, so this will be existing on the Spencer Scott Pugh live channel. And I always say this, but at some point we're going to switch these live streams over to that channel so that on the main channel here, it'll be just content. The short, what is the word I'm trying to think of? Short form, good grief. The short form sort of essay video content. So that's what we're doing. Really quick, I always try to do this, just see how the stream is. Let me pull it up here. I hope you guys are doing well. Olympics are going on, so that's super fun. Been really enjoying watching those with Maria and baby girl. I don't know, Olympics are strange, aren't they? They're like people who don't usually like sports. I don't know. Maria's text. Maria always texts me when I go live on these live streams and says stuff that just throws me off. She just texted me. I don't know if I should read it. Olympics are interesting. It's like people who don't usually like sports become fascinated. And I don't know. I didn't really plan on talking about that today, but hopefully you guys are enjoying the Olympics. It's cool to cheer on our country and I don't know, see athletes from other countries too. I think it's super cool seeing how many athletes that countries send. The stuff with Russia, all that. I don't know. Anyway, probably shouldn't have said that word on the live stream, but so we're just gonna dive into it. Something I'll say before we get started here is I think what I've found that I'm going to do is looking back on old live streams that I've done here. There are some segments in these live streams that are great and they can stand alone as their own videos. So I'm going to be taking, and I already did it last week, some segments from these live streams, chopping them up, adding a little bit of B-roll and stuff over top of them, and then re-uploading to the main channel as its own standalone content. So that's pretty cool. I've got a teeny little team that's working with me on my YouTube stuff, which is going to free up my time to just create the content and then, focus on my full-time job mostly. So that's going to be really nice to be able to continue creating content in the way that I really like to, as well as handing that raw footage and stuff off to others to handle all of that in the background and kind of stuff like that. So I'm really excited about that game plan, if that makes sense. Let's dive into my notes from this week. So first thing is, I know it's trendy, but making a tiny home out of a Sprinter van is becoming a dream of mine for the future. It's super trendy right now. A lot of vloggers, YouTubers are doing it as well. They're taking, Land Rovers, Sprinter vans, school buses, old trailers, stuff like that, and sort of flipping them, making them super nice and trendy looking, and then just sort of driving around the country or wherever they may live, and living out of their van for a while. And I don't necessarily want to live out of a van, but I imagine the future where, on a weekend or a week, Maria, Lina, and I could get in our Sprinter van and drive down to the beach, drive to any beach, or go camping or go to the lake and just we bring the Airbnb with us, in a sense. So I think that'd be super fun. And just, I think the part I'm most excited about is flipping one, creating it. I think that would be super fun to do, but I don't know, just a little dream. Probably will go away as quickly as it came, but this morning we're drinking just iced coffee straight, no creamer. Which is, if it's good coffee, it's good coffee. So, there's it's funny, a lot of talking points I'll write down and I don't get to them in a previous live stream. And so they roll over to the next one, which is a lot of these points coming up. And some of them I touched on in the previous live stream. So that's going to happen every once in a while on here. There are going to be things that I forget, that I've already talked about and stuff, but it's cool. It's still on my mind. I'm still processing it, and I invite you all to join me on that as well, if you'd like to. All right, my keys are over there. Which one of these is, I had a lot of thoughts in my head that needed to come out. This live stream has helped, but now what? Yeah, so this is going back to that point where, I'll just hit on it briefly because I know I've already talked about it, but when I started these live streams, it was like every thought in my head that I had just had in my head that I hadn't told anyone, or I had told someone, but they weren't too interested in, or I don't know. It was just a lot. And I think it's still happening. I think that I have a lot of thoughts throughout the week, but being able to just put them down, to log them in whatever format, whether it's writing them down or creating video like this is, I think video is my most natural content creation state, if that makes sense. I'm not a good writer whatsoever. I do enjoy podcasting as well. So, but I feel fine in front of a camera. So, it's like I said in the previous episodes of this live stream stuff, in this podcast, just getting stuff off my chest. It's therapeutic for me. And even if no one listens, just having it out there, being able to listen back and see where I was last week. Heck, it's crazy. So this has been really cool. I have no intention of stopping this. I think once Lina, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, once Lina goes back to school, Maria goes back to school, I'm going to have to figure out a new schedule. It's possible I can still do these on Tuesdays at 7:30. It's just going to be a matter of waking up way earlier in the mornings to get everything situated. So it might be these change to lunchtimes or evenings or something. I'm not 100% sure, but I want to keep doing them. They've been really good for me, I think. Talking through a lot, even on like a spiritual level with my Christianity and where I am. I don't know, just being able to talk about stuff. I don't know. I just feel like it's helped me a lot. So I don't want to stop doing these. Cool. So I already talked about that. So the content pyramid. This is a segment that I think we could make into a separate video. High five, friend. How's it going? I'll show your comment down here. High five, friend is apparently a neighbor in Virginia here. I don't know where, but he or she joins a lot of these live streams. So, hey, it's good to see a high five, friend. High five to you as well. Thanks for commenting. Glad you're here. So the content pyramid, that's all I have written. So I'm going to try and just sort of lay this out. And this is a segment that I think could go well on the main channel. So when I started my social media company, I guess it was 2016, 2017, I started my own personal company called Scott Pugh Media, and I was creating content for companies around town. What I found was a lot of companies, once they have that content, they don't really know where to put them. So about a year after I started Scott Pugh Media, it's a long story, but I'll make it short. I met with my business partner, Maggie Rotans, and we decided to start a social media company. So once these companies have the content we create for them, we also show them and can do it for them, put it where it needs to go online. So that was the idea. It was this is a step of content creation. Now we're going to teach you actually we're going to do it for you, but we can also teach you how to take that content and put it in the right places online. So something that I had been doing a lot of was just research and reading and listening to podcasts and audiobooks and trying to figure out this social media world. Gary Vee obviously was a big influence on me, especially when I was in the process of leaving my full-time job to start my own company back in 2016, 2017. Excuse me. And so something that I really enjoyed about Gary Vee was the idea of macro content and micro content. So what I picked up from what he was laying down is if you as a company or an individual with a brand can focus on consistently creating macro content. Macro content meaning sort of long form content. Now there's 3 types. In the past with macro content, whatever you want to call it, you had TV, radio, and then like newspaper or magazine, right? So basically visual, audio, and print. Nowadays, same thing, but now you've got YouTube videos, you've got podcasts or audiobooks or whatever, and then you've got blog posts, right? So if you can focus on one of those 3 things, what you can then do, like, so let's say we start with video, and this is what I'm actually doing right now. Every Tuesday, I go live on this channel, and I create a 30 to 45 minute video, right? It's very laid back, very easy, but there are nuggets of content within this live stream that are golden. Well, I don't want to say golden. They're better than others, right? They're not just the laid back stuff like what we're talking about right now, for instance. Now, what can I do with that? Now I can just put out this live stream into the world and be done with it, right? That's one piece of macro content that I put out into the world. But what if I then took the live stream, I found 2 to 3 segments in the live stream, I chopped those out, created 3 separate videos. From those videos, I had someone write blog posts from them. I took the audio from those videos and put them on as a podcast. So now already we've got 4 pieces of video content. We've got 4 pieces of audio content and 3 pieces of blog content. Those would still be considered macro content in my opinion. If a segment's like 5 minutes long, right? Now I can take those smaller macro contents and chop out quotes in the form of graphics for Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I could take little audio bits, 30 seconds, a minute of value that I'm bringing in a few sentences. That's micro content. I could take short clips from these and put them out on Reels or wherever. And as you can see, what we're doing is we're creating this content pyramid, which is what I like to call it. So you start with a single piece of macro content, and from there, you can create so much content. And this is what Gary Vee did well and does well, is he hires tons of people to take everything he says, macro, he'll be on a podcast for an hour, and chop that up into hundreds of micro content pieces. And then those get spread out all over the internet. And you can create content differently for different platforms, right? You might have like the funniest segments of a podcast, split those all up, make a little TikTok, and it's funny, right? The original content wasn't meant to be funny. It was just a podcast, maybe a business-to-business podcast, but every once in a while, Gary Vee makes a wisecrack or a joke. And so they take all the funny bits, and that's its own content. It's entertaining, and it has a different purpose, right? So that's the idea of the content pyramid. Now, what I'm trying to do here is create the macro content and then hire people to create the micro content for me. That way, I'm putting out lots and lots of content. I'm spreading my net really wide across the internet. But as far as the work that I'm having to do, I'm just committing to every Tuesday coming on a live stream for 30 to 45 minutes. So you can see, as a business owner, or even as like an individual who wants to, help their personal brand, and that's a story for another day. But I think because of the way the internet works, if you're serious about your career, so much of it is online these days. I think every person, whether you're an engineer at a desk job or you're wanting to be the next great entrepreneur, you need to be creating some form of content. because it adds value to your portfolio. It shows a certain amount of charisma. It's everyone needs to be making content, and I believe in that. And I know it can be very hard, and not everyone can have the resources or the money to hire out help for this stuff. So there are simpler ways of creating this content pyramid that you can do all on your own. But there's great sites like Fiverr and Upwork. And I'm actually, I found a few people on Fiverr who are part of my little micro team here. Someone to edit videos and chop them up. Someone to help with the SEO and tagging. Someone to run social media stuff, promotional type stuff. And that's my little team right now. And I'm still exploring it and trying to figure it out. But that's the idea of the content pyramid. It's really a way of focusing on one great macro content that can then be split up into micro content pieces that, the amount of micro content you could get out of 45 minutes of talking is insane, right? Then it's just a matter of are the micro content pieces good? Do they bring even a little bit of value? If they do, they're worth sharing. So that's the idea of the content pyramid. So yeah, that's the idea of the content pyramid. Anyway, so that's a cool thing that I've been doing, trying to figure out here with my personal brand, because I want to work on my personal brand, but I don't have time, right? So I've been trying to figure out how I'm able to do that in hiring out people and really getting to know them and trying to make it more of a team. I'm not just hiring out Fiverr people that I don't even speak to. I'm just chop this up. I want to create relationships too, and make it a form of a kind of a small business. So that's been really fun too, working with others on content. So now I guess the next thing, that we discussed with clients when I was working with Maggie, doing the social media stuff, is a lot of times too, the idea of the content pyramid is great. But where do you even get started with macro content? What do you talk about? If you're a dentist, what do you talk about for 45 minutes? Well, there's a lot that you could talk about. And believe it or not, even if you get real nerdy with it, there are people out there who want to hear not only what you're talking about, but your opinion on those things. And I know it's hard to believe, why does anyone want to listen to me? But everyone's different and has a different outlook on things and an opinion on things. And believe it or not, there's so many people in the world. And even if you had the smallest percentage of those people watching your content, it's a lot of people. So it's a matter of staying true to the content you want to create, and then finding where to put your content in front of people who might be interested in it. So getting onto the point here, when I worked with Maggie at Harvest, something we would do with our clients to help them with what do we create content about is we would look at categories, right? So with a company, the easiest way to look at categories is if they already have a social media presence, look back through their content, find the content that really worked for them, that people were enjoying and engaging on. Find the content that they posted a lot about, that they found interest in, and create, we would say 8 to 12 categories. I think probably less is more, but I don't want to go you don't want 3, because that's too repetitive. I'll get to the point here in a second. So creating 8 categories, right? So let's go with the dentist, and it's going to be hard for me to come up with this example because I'm not a dentist. And that's why it's good to, if you're the business, if you're the person, it's something you have to sort of work through. But, giving the dentist as an example, one category could be clips of them actually performing their dental work. One category could be selfies with their patients, whatever the compliance and stuff is with that. One category could be, if you're a hometown dentist, share about your community. What's going on in the community? Are there any other companies around you that you could shout out, right? Another type of content could be, sharing your hygienists, what their personal lives are like, or what they're getting up to, doing employee spotlights, customer spotlights. So what you do is you create these like solid categories. They can change over time. But next time you sit down to create content, it's going to be way easier to look at a list of 8 choices than it will be to say, what in the world should I post today? So that's the idea of, the content focus and creating these categories is when you do sit down to batch content, or even just to post on a whim on a Tuesday morning, you can say, well, I haven't posted about a customer spotlight recently. It's been a few weeks since I've done that. So that's easy. Boom. Cool. Martha's coming in today. She'll love to be featured on the Instagram page. Let me get a selfie with her, or let me take a picture of her and talk about the vacation that she just went on. It doesn't matter, right? Whatever you find content works for you and that you enjoy making, that's what you create your categories around. So that was a big part of what we did at Harvest, was showing companies how to, create these categories to just help with their processing of what kind of content they should be making. So that was really fun. So moving on to me personally, what I've found is, recently I've been thinking, I've talked about it a lot, but on my main channel on YouTube, I had a couple bullet journal videos blow up. And I got a lot of subscribers who were interested in bullet journaling. And every piece of content that I publish that's not about bullet journaling, these subscribers are leaving. I mean, even, like if I look back at my 28 days, like the last 28 days in my analytics on my YouTube channel, I've lost like 20, 30 subscribers. So I've been struggling with like, what kind of content do I publish? And getting that in my head of like, anything I publish, I'm losing subscribers. Like, do I want to fight to keep them? Because I don't want to make bullet journal videos all the time. I don't. And so what I actually found is, working through these live streams, again, it's like therapy for me. Alongside wondering what content I should be making, I'm currently, trying to go back to my life's priorities. What am I trying to focus on most as an individual? And what I've found is like, those are one and the same. Like I think, for instance, and I'll just tell you my priorities right now. I've got God at the top of the list. I've got family. I've got work third. I've got social, so friends and with people. And then I have the 6th one's actually home, but I think that home meaning like material upkeep, getting the cars cleaned, walking the dog, fixing the basement, like home stuff, right? Errands and stuff. I think I'm going to group that in with family just because I want to keep my priority list small. And I think 5 is a good number. But what I've realized is like, these are the things that I'm trying to focus on in life. Why don't they just be my categories, for my content? The vlog obviously will be mostly focused on family, traveling with the family, experiences of Lina, work, I've got marketing stuff that I'm learning and working on here. I talk about God quite a bit on this podcast, this live stream. So yeah, I think those are going to be my content categories, and I think it just makes sense. These are things I'm trying to work on, so why not double down on that idea and make it be what I'm sharing as well. So that's an idea I had for that as well. I just want to keep an eye on the time here. I do have plenty of time. So moving on, that's that. So yeah, give me 1 second, I'm gonna lock the door. And then I had a comment on that last point, being that I feel like people's priorities in life change quite a bit, but I feel like a lot of people follow those same 5, maybe with the exception of God, just depending on your spiritual life or if you have one. But, family, friends, personal life, whether it's fitness or trying to be happy or whatever you're trying to seek out personally in your life. And then, upkeep with material things, your house or whatever it might be. So I don't know. I think that people can relate with all of that. It's just a matter of, as in terms of the content part of this discussion, it's a matter of, do they like the way I am handling those 5 categories? Are they interested in following my journey, whatever you want to call it, in those categories? Yeah, next point here. AgendaCare has a couple new business projects or ventures, I guess, that I'm excited about. Whitney here, my boss, is becoming quite the serial entrepreneur. She got her hands in a lot of things. She is making interesting moves. I think she's doing a good job of looking at what our area needs and then creating companies to fill those needs, which is super interesting. And it's on a level that I could never operate on. But she's pulling a lot of us along on the journey. For instance, a couple new ones, she's going to need my help with and everyone else's help. So it's really exciting and fun and scary at the same time. But I just wanted to make sure this microphone was on. Can you imagine? That'd be embarrassing. Okay, we're good. Yeah, so a lot going on. I'm excited about a lot of it. I think there's going to be cool opportunities for me to grow in my career as well. Just piggybacking off of Whitney, watching the people that she meets, and just soaking it in. This Friday, we have a pretty big meeting. There's a lot I don't want to share at the moment, but this Friday is going to be a really interesting meeting that I'm super excited about. So I get to go along with her and a couple others and just learn. And also just see how I'm young. I'm almost 28. I have a lot of learning left to do in my career, a lot. And I hope I'm always learning, but sometimes I feel sort of an imposter syndrome here. And I think fake it till you make it, kind of, but also just, admitting where I am in my career, knowing that people see me as a young person. They probably have an idea of the naivete, is that a word, that comes with someone my age. And I didn't go to school necessarily for marketing or business, so I'm catching up a lot in ways that those types of people aren't. Someone outside's like listening to the radio really loud. I hope you guys can't hear that. But I'm just very excited about work here at AgendaCare, and I'm happy working here, and also there's just a lot of excitement too. It's never dull with Whitney. That's 100% true. So it's fun. This says podcast went great yesterday, which I guess was a week ago. Excited about the new setup. Yeah, so it had been a while since we'd done a couple podcasts for AgendaCare house calls, and now that we've split the two companies, I've got to run podcasts for house calls and aesthetics. We have a new little setup for the podcast in the soiree room over there, and it looks so cool. So I'm excited about those videos, those podcasts going out. If you want to follow, just AgendaCare. I think one's called the AgendaCare podcast, and the other one is AgendaCare Aesthetics. So if you want to look those up, there's only a couple episodes on aesthetics, but more so on house calls. So if you're interested in what we're doing here at AgendaCare, listen to those. I think they're a good peek into what we do, but also like where we are right now with the company, which is pretty interesting. Lina is very early stages of crawling. Yeah, that was a week or two ago, and now she's not perfect at crawling, but she's doing great. She's at the point now where if she sets her, eyes on something that she wants to go get, she can get there, And yesterday we had, our good friends Michael and Abby over, which was so much fun. And their baby Reagan, who's 6 months. Lina is almost 11 months. They were really cute together. But Lina was crawling all over the place. It was awesome, like room to room, which was like kind of a thing, before yesterday or maybe the day before, she was kind of like, she'd go 5 feet or so, and that's about it. But yeah, she was crawling all around, which is fun and scary at the same time. You can't take her eyes off of her now. So gosh, Lina's the love of my life. I love her so much, man. And she was making me laugh so hard yesterday, doing this little jumpy thing in her like jumper that hangs from the door. Oh my gosh, I was like legit laughing so hard at her. She's awesome. Next point here, the new Bo Burnham Inside is fire. It's Maria's like, I listen to it so much. Like I listen to the album too. I think when I first watched the special, I was focused so much on like what he was doing visually that I didn't really listen to the words. Like I heard some of them, right? And like, oh, that's so funny. Or the concept of this song is really funny. But I've been listening to the album. It's just like so good. Not only is it funny, but like catchy, like witty. Dude, the music itself is just like, there's bangers on there, man. And I don't know. He's also making like social statements and stuff. I don't know. I just think it's really good. Well done, Bo Burnham, if you're watching this, which I know you are. Everyone watches this. I've really been enjoying that. So if you haven't checked it out, Bo Burnham, just to give you a quick spiel, he's a comedian, right? He started out on YouTube making like funny little songs. Anyway, he's done a few Netflix specials, up on a stage type thing, but during the pandemic, he locked himself in like a shed, I guess, behind his house. It's kind of like a guest house. He locked himself in there and like made this whole special by himself. Shot, edited, produced, all the music, the filming, everything. So it's funny. It's like, back in the day we used to make videos, and at the end of the video on YouTube, we would roll the credits, right? Like director, Spencer, writer, Spencer. And it was like, most of it was the person who came up with the video. Well, that's what this was like. It was like produced by Bo Burnham, shot and edited by Bo Burnham, music by Bo Burnham. Which is pretty cool. So, and it's very self-aware the entire time too, which is funny. Anyway, check it out. It's called Inside on Netflix. Not great for kids to watch, so keep that in mind, of course. But not great for kids. No. I found a new YouTuber, Ava Zubek. She travels around the world. She's a travel vlogger, and I guess one of her videos was suggested to me, and funny enough, wrapping it back around to the top of this episode, her like latest venture, like she's traveled all around the world and does pretty cool stuff. Her latest venture is she bought a Land Rover Defender, I think, and she is transforming it into like an off-road little house. So it's been fun watching her build that, and then she's gonna go on some cool adventures. She's cool. I think her videos are kind of overproduced. I guess not overproduced, but produced. It feels very much like a show, like she does previously, and she does like upcoming, and like she has a pretty long intro. I don't know how I feel about all of that, but she's fun to watch, and I get excited to watch her videos. She does like one a week, and they're fairly long. So yeah, check her out. I think I mentioned her last episode. She's the one who did the espresso tonic drink, and it's like so refreshing, and I have tried it, and I want to do one with espresso. I've only done it with coffee because I like the taste of espresso, and I think that'd be better in the sparkling water. But yeah, check her out if you're looking for a new YouTuber to follow. Ava Zubek, EvaZubeck. She's great. Finish Your Secrets video 2 out today. That again was supposed to be shared last week. It's a video on time boxing. Go give Finish Your Secrets a subscribe. I'm putting out content there for them, and it's really cool. So I'm more of the mouthpiece for those videos. So I don't create the content as far as the concepts. Javier, the owner of Finish Your Secrets, does, and he sends me like a list of bullet points, and I expand upon those for a video script, and then I shoot the video, edit it, and then send it off to the rest of the team there. Again, working with a team on YouTube content is like the most satisfying thing ever. So yeah, go if you're interested in more content from me. I'm creating a lot right now, which is awesome. But that's something where I'm on those videos. I'm not necessarily creating the substance, but I'm a part of it, and it's really fun. And Javier is a super cool guy, so I really enjoy working with him. All right, been going 35 minutes here. Gentle and Lowly. Okay, Gentle and Lowly is a book that is amazing. I don't have the author written down. So Gentle and Lowly is a book that I think Maria had heard about. And then at the new church that we've been attending, they recommended it in their library. I think they did like a whole like church-wide study on it or something. It's by Dane C. Ortland. And it takes a look at Jesus in the Bible. And I think there's a lot of like light understanding of who Jesus was. I think we obviously we can read through the Gospels and through the whole Bible really and see what he was doing. But this book takes a look at, where, he's human, right? Fully God, fully man. It takes a look at where his mind and heart are when he performs miracles or when he says things about his Father or about the world. And it's been eye-opening. That's the thing I love about the Bible, man. It's like you could read it a million times and then still learn something. And I think these people who have gone before us and have done studies and they just pick the Bible apart and they really, have a good understanding of what it's teaching us. Anyway, I'm kind of going on a tangent here. Gentle and Lowly. I'm almost halfway through, and it's just, the chapters are short. It's kind of a short book. I think it's only got like 200 pages, a little over that. But it's so cool, man. Just, I don't know. And I don't know. I could really go into it, and maybe I will. Maybe I'll do a whole episode of the podcast discussing the book. I don't want to spend too much time on it here, but it's great. If you're a Christian looking for the next book to read, this one is amazing. And if you have read it, let me know what you thought. So, speaking of books, Charlie Bone. There were a few books when I was in middle school, I think it was middle school, called Charlie Bone, the Charlie Bone Saga or whatever. I thought about it the other day and I was like, dude, I would love, first of all, they need to make a show or a movie. I would prefer a show. I feel like shows are doing better than movies these days, about these books because they're really good. I picked up the first book, Midnight for Charlie Bone is what it's called. I got the audiobook. I've been listening to it. It's so good, but I also, it's a huge ripoff of Harry Potter. Almost to the point where I kind of wonder, like, how is this allowed? But I don't mind, and it stands on its own. It's got its own stuff going on, but it's about a boy, and he actually lives with his mom. His dad passed away, we think, right? And he has to be sent off to the school because he's got magical powers. And at the school, he lives there, and there are other kids with magical powers, and there's evil guys, and it feels very Harry Potter, but I love Harry Potter, so I'm not mad about it. But anyway, I've been listening to it, and I mean, it's a kid's book. I mean, maybe a teenager book or whatever, but it's good, man. I really want them to make a show about it. And I looked it up the other day, like, is there a movie? Or what, is there going to be a movie or show? And there's like a petition and stuff to get a show started or a movie, which is pretty funny. Speaking of TV shows, I kind of put all these together. I got to get to Maria's Anti-System. And we'll end on that maybe. Yeah. The Lord of the Rings TV show, which apparently is coming out on Amazon Prime. I don't know when, but it actually follows Sauron when he was like still a man or whatever he was. So way back then when he's like forging the rings and stuff, which is going to be super cool. But apparently it's got like a budget of like $1 billion or more. It's like the highest budgeted TV show ever. And as it should be, because it's going to be awesome. Super excited for that. Super excited about that. Man, they're making so much good stuff these days. I just love it. I love it. Next thing, selling my Nintendo Switch. I tried to sell it to Maggie, and she took it and played it for a while, but never paid me for it. And I was like, hey, if you're not going to pay me, can I have it back so I can sell it? It's got a lot of games on it, like 70 games downloaded to the system. So if you're watching this and you want to buy it from me, I'm selling it for like $500, which I understand is $200 more than you can buy a new one for. But the point is there's a lot of games on there, so it's got a lot of value. So anyway, there's that. Buy it from me, please. I need to get rid of it. We bought a new exercise bike. Maria she did a few cycling classes in college and really, really enjoyed it. And that's been like her favorite form of exercise, I think. And so, we're interested in the Peloton, right? But that's so expensive. I found a very inexpensive knockoff. It was like $200 on Amazon. It had great reviews. So we got that, and I've rode it a few times, and man, I think something I want to complain about is I did a 30-minute workout with the Activity Plus with Apple. I burned like, let's say 300 calories, right? I was sweating my butt off. It was really hard. I went on a 30-minute walk with Buddy the other day through the woods, and my Apple Watch was like, hey, almost 300 calories. And I was like, would much rather go on a walk through the woods in the same amount of time and not really feel like I'm doing as much and burn the same amount of calories. So that's either a problem with the Apple Watch tracking how many calories I'm losing, or it's the truth and obvious answer to me. So anyway, there's that. Last thing, Maria's anti-system. It's a joke. So we hinted on this last episode. Maria chimed in and said, have you told everyone I'm anti-system? So Maria, as well as many other mothers, mom guilt. This whole idea of like there is a right way to raise your kid, and there's a billion different right ways to raise your kid, and everyone will tell you their idea of how to raise your kid. And a lot of them, Maria and I discussed this, like people, myself included, Maria included, we create systems in our life to make it easier. I have a system for how I do the dishes at night because I have to do them every night. And so I want a good, efficient, fun system for it. Doing the dishes isn't fun, but you can make it fun. So I've created a system for it. And I think Maria's issue with systems is like, I think how people view systems. Like if for whatever reason, halfway through my system of doing dishes, Maria was like, hey, I really need you to go put Lina back to sleep. She woke up. I wouldn't be that mad about my system getting messed up. But there are some people in life who, if their system gets messed up, the world's ending. And I think that's why Maria hates systems. It's like we focus too much on the system, and it becomes a god in and of itself, and it pulls us away from what truly matters, which is, why we're doing the system in the first place. So I think that's what she's getting at. She was like really upset. And I think that's something she was realizing is like whenever there's a problem with Lina or Maria's life in general, she'll go to Instagram or Pinterest or Google and try and find out like, why isn't my baby sleeping? Or as just an example, Lina sleeps great, but there have been times where she's woken up and we're like, well, what's best for her? Blah, blah, blah. So Maria will look it up and there's a million different people saying this is the system. Your baby cries, you let them cry, they'll fall back asleep. Or if your baby cries, that's terrible, you should pull them into bed with you. Like there's just so many different right ways or the way of doing things. And I think it more than anything, I think it was just overwhelming Maria, and she was like, there's no right answer here, you know? And so she kind of was just like, dude, systems, I don't like them. I'm just going to try and do what's better for my daughter. It's mostly around raising Lina. And if it works, great, we'll put it into a routine system. If not, that's okay. You know, the system doesn't have to be the be all end all. So that's what we mean by anti-system. But it's funny, Maria was like, I feel like that sounds pretty like anarchist for me to say, like, I don't like systems. So yeah, so that's that. That's gonna do it for this week. Next week, it looks like, well, next week I'll be at the beach, so I probably won't do a live stream, but I will try and vlog. So just, yeah, if I don't live stream, I apologize. Knowing me, I'm gonna be chomping at the bit to do something, so it's possible that I'll try and live stream. It's gonna be a beautiful setting if I do live stream, but I think that I should probably skip next week's live stream. But anyway, I appreciate you all very much. I hope you all are doing well. I really do. Like, whoever's watching this, I hope you're well. And I love to discuss life with you and all the things that we're going through. I don't know. Again, this is therapeutic for me, and maybe it can be for you too. I don't know. But I do really appreciate everyone for tuning in. And yep, like, rate, subscribe, review, all that good stuff wherever you're watching or listening. And if you go to my website, spencerscottpugh.com, you can subscribe to my newsletter, and each week you'll get a newsletter with all the content that I've made that week. So if you don't really want to subscribe to me and chase me all around the internet, that's one place you can just subscribe once and you'll get everything I create, which is nice, I think. I don't know. But I love you all so very much. Thanks for watching. Focus on the things that matter. And I'll see you next time. Peace.